after Christmas, but I've noticed under the tree there's some presents left for me. Wow, would you look at that? Oh, and what could be seen through here? VeggieTales, I haven't heard that name in years. Hello and welcome back to another video, and today, in the spirit of the holiday season and actually having somewhat motivation to upload, I'm going to be ranking holiday specials about vegetables. Oh gosh, that rhymes. Okay. So, unless you're like me and many other children growing up in the 2000s that had like a Christian upbringing, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna give you a brief little synopsis of what VeggieTales is. It's been going on for like years. It originally started around like 1980s when Phil Vischer thought up this idea to teach children about the wonderful world of God. And I know that another YouTuber I'm really interested in, his channel name is Saberspark. He did a full-on interview with Phil Vischer and gives a bit more background on the history that I'm not going to touch on because we're focusing strictly on the Christmas specials. So basically, VeggieTales is little cartoons for children with anthropomorphic veggies. They talk about life lessons, and there's a bit of God thrown in there. There's also silly songs, and I remember watching countless of these, like, because I've seen all of the older ones, and as you can see by the DVDs behind me, I have practically every one. And so today we're going to take a look at 6 titles from their holiday releases, and we're going to talk about which ones are worth a watch and which ones are worth skipping. And you know, the best part is anyone, regardless of religious affiliation, you can laugh a little with these. Also, as a side note, I would like to say a special thank you to my friends who inspired this video. You can check out their videos in the description below, and hopefully you go check them out, because even though they didn't say holiday veggies, they did talk about some of their favorite shows and animes, and I think you should go check them out. Oh, that doesn't look right. Okay, so we've got our categories that I'll share with you real quick. We've got most nostalgic, we've got best and worst storytelling, we've got best music, which is just general in-movie music, not counting silly songs. We've got our worst silly song and the favorite silly song of the 6 films we watched. And yeah. Okay, so let's get this started. My first category was most nostalgic, and for this we have a two-way tie with the first 2 VeggieTales movies released, and that makes a lot of sense, right? Because they were the first ones, they were probably the ones that I saw the most. Now, what was nostalgic for me personally was The Toy That Saved Christmas, and my mother said The Star of Christmas. Now I'm going to give you a brief little synopsis about each of these. I'll read right from the back. Appearing on his own TV commercials, unscrupulous toy maker Wally P. Nezzer has convinced all of Dinkletown that Christmas is when you get stuff, which isn't wrong. With the town's children begging for more toys, it's sure to be the worst Christmas ever, until one brave little buzzsaw Louie doll decides to take matters into his own hands. And it says, the toy that saved Christmas reminds children of all ages that Christmas isn't about getting, it's about giving. You know, in some senses, this hasn't aged well. It's kind of clunky and just kind of not. Well, it came out in like 98, so it's definitely showing the signs of age. But I have always loved this one just for the absurdity of it all. And of course, I was a huge doll person as a kid. So of course, when I'm like, oh, Buzzsaw Louie, that's pretty funny. Does not seem like the safest toy for a child. It's like a toy with like a built-in buzzsaw. Yeah, give your children that, I guess. just, I remember countless holidays where I've sat and watched this one. Overall, not a bad story, very original. What my mom found nostalgic was the Star of Christmas, which, I'm gonna be honest, I remember completely hating this one. Maybe because I didn't get the sophisticated nature of it, but having watched it a second time, I actually gained a new appreciation for it because of just, I don't know, it just stuck with me. I'm gonna read the premise. In 1880s London, it's 1880s London, and Calvis Appyhart and Millward Phelps, Bob and Larry, are putting on the finishing touches for their first Christmas special, The Princess and the Plumber. Filled with spectacle and more electric lights from London than ever seen, Calvis is convinced that his impressive show will teach London to love. Fortunately, a church Christmas pageant staged by little Edmund Gilbert is opening the same night right down the street and features the Star of Christmas. A priceless artifact that hasn't been seen in 30 years. Or no, 80 years. Just how far will Calvis go to make sure his show opens on top? It's like how to love each other, basically, at Christmas time. And I just love the aesthetics of, like, 18th century London. I just thought that was really cool. The humor in this one is pretty great. A lot of jokes that, like, flew over my head as a kid, I got the second time well, this is more than the second time, but when I rewatched it again. And, I mean, the songs aren't the most memorable in this one, but I definitely plan on rewatching it every year because it's good. Message is simple, story is interesting, and I just like the aesthetics of the movie. And the interesting thing about this one is they actually do have a sequel to this one called An Easter Carol. I just got done watching that one. View that one with your own caution. That's a review for a different day. So our next category that I'm going to be mentioning today is best and worst storytelling, and we're going to start this off with the worst storytelling, which in this case it would have to go to Mary, Larry, and the True Light of Christmas, and then our best storytelling is going to It's a Meaningful Life. Now, Mary, Larry was one of the newest additions out of the 6 I watched. It actually is the newest, aside from the one that I could not find for free on YouTube, so I couldn't watch it, but this came out in 2017, when I was a freshman in high school. Okay, don't judge me. And the reason that we marked this as our worst storytelling spot, there's no substance to this whatsoever. It's about a mall elf who wants to help a little girl in need. There's nothing memorable about it other than the fact that the guy from Duck Dynasty is the janitor, and it doesn't even make any sense why he needs to narrate, because we already know what's going on. And that is why this is, I mean, there's some other ones that I had watched that come pretty close to this in terms of, like, quality. Like, a lot of the recent ones kind of lack that charm, but this one just disappointing. Like, I remember the only good thing that I can think of for this one is at the end they have a song by Owl City, which I like Owl City. So, on the scale of the spectrum here, we got the worst, but the best is It's a Meaningful Life. It's fairly simple. It came out in 2010, and it's basically a retelling of the classic story, It's a Wonderful Life, and it's about being thankful. And I feel like they do a good job kind of, well, I wouldn't say dumbing down, but they've adapted very nicely to the children's format. I mean, It's a Wonderful Life is a good movie on its own, but making it VeggieTales is kind of funny. And this also had the best silly song on the list, which is called Goodnight Junior. It's about a kid who won't shut up and go to sleep. And I appreciated it then, and my mom appreciated it now. And just the way that it was compared to the other ones on this list. It was unique and not cliche and stupid, because you can do funny songs without stupid for the sake of stupidity, which others on this list have problems with. So yeah, this one's definitely worth checking out. It's probably, the golden age of VeggieTales probably would be from about the start of the series to about 2010, and then the quality's just kind of tanked. I mean, that does not mean I don't appreciate the recent films, because I most certainly do. In fact, one of the more recent releases, Celery Night Fever, I watched that the other night, and it was great. It was about the Groovy Brothers, and I liked the music in it, and it made me smile. So that one's another one I recommend. All of these are free to watch on YouTube. I mean, I own the DVDs because I'm old, and DVDs are a thing that people used to need before you could cast YouTube to your TV. Anyway, our next category is Best Music, and for this one, I would have to say Beauty and the Beat had the best music out of all of these, and I don't have the DVD with me, but it came out in 2014, and it's their take on Beauty and the Beast, which, yeah, it's kind of stupid, but the whole premise is Beauty, well, yeah, Maribel, who plays the Beauty in this, is in a band with her brothers and her sisters, and they're managed by their dad. So they're on their way to Celery Square Garden, which is an obvious ripoff of Madison Square Garden, and they're going through a storm, and they're like, oh no, we better stop because this blizzard. So they find themselves at an inn run by an angry Beat, and he makes them perform to pay their dues. And then, of course, the Beat and Maribel kind of have a friendship. They don't say they're dating. It's kind of implied. But the music in it, because Kelly Clarkson plays Maribel, and she has a really nice voice, and is one of the celebrity guest stars done correctly. And I don't know, I just really like the music. It's all kind of uplifting and happy, and it's a cute message overall. It didn't really catch my attention compared to some of the other ones, simply just because it's a story I've seen before. You know, it's like there's only so many times you can do that. So, our final category is silly songs, and I know I mentioned one of our favorite silly songs, Goodnight Junior, but another one that we really enjoyed that kind of surprised me is Oh Santa from The Toy That Saved Christmas, and really that one's a shock to me because I remember hating that one when I was younger, but it's compared to other options on this list. We have 8 Polish dishes of Christmas, Donuts for Benny, Macaroni and Cheese, and All Wrapped Up for Christmas, each progressively dumber. And like, it's kind of funny. There's an IRS joke in Oh Santa that I thought it made me chuckle even though I'm a child. And it, like, that's the thing with like these classic VeggieTales. Some of the humor and references, because the people who made this show were kind of old. So like, there's in one episode, very off topic, one of the first episodes, they have a full parody of like Gilligan's Island, which is hilarious to me because children aren't gonna know what that is, but of course, me being me, I figured it out and I laughed along and I thought it was pretty great. So it's like, it's definitely a show that my parents could watch. And I don't really remember early days of me watching all of these shows because it spans so much time. It's been around since I can remember, and I'm almost 18 now, so hey, that's pretty cool. Something that's kind of timeless. But yeah, so thank you for watching. Feel free to check these out on YouTube, or if you feel like supporting the original, you can always buy a copy of your own. I hope you have a happy new year. This was supposed to go out before January 1st, but as as you can see, it'll probably go out either tonight or tomorrow, so it'll be 2021. I hope you have a nice year. Stay safe, and thank you for listening to me rant about VeggieTales. There's so many videos I could do on this topic, because, well, like, just animation in general is something I'm passionate about. I like cartoons. I'm like a giant child, and I'm not ashamed of that. It's like, it was a huge part of me as a child, and it's a huge part of me now. And I just feel like, I don't know, probably won't share too much about this sort of thing, but if it gets well received, or if you want to hear me rant about shows, heck. Or you could subscribe to Georgia, my friend Georgia, and my friend Tyler. They've done videos on this type of thing, and I will put those in the description, as well as off to the side on like one of these sides. I haven't figured that out yet, because they do a much better job than me, because I've been rambling at a camera for a long time. And they actually script their stuff. I don't. Wow, that's really apparent, Janie, but yeah, have a safe and happy new year. I love you. Your love and support. And I will see you on the flip side. That's cheesy. Alright, bye. Donuts for Benny. Doggies need doughy treats that come from up above. Donuts for Benny.